I can't really comment on the teams that are doing it now. When we started creating our plan in 2011, we were about to enter a new CBA, so the rules hadn't necessarily established itself. So we were talking through what the right thing to do was. So our philosophy, what we hope to do is really create a CBA.
And then you had to change gears because they took away the draft pick.
Yeah, certainly the way we had operated in Boston, and the way Jason and I operated in San Diego was to try to spend as much money as we could later in the draft. And obviously that vehicle was taken away. But certainly that was something that I'm quite sure we would have done in Chicago. We just done it in Boston and done that in San Diego as well.
One thing we have to learn how to do, Ray, is that the fact that
it's not really a spring of possibilities because we've already done it. It's just the difference in 1 year feeling
and always felt that way.
Last year, I don't think anyone had a really good sense of what to expect from the season. Theo and I included. I think we were excited to bring Joe in. We signed some free agents. Our young players were getting closer. But we didn't have a really good sense of what to expect. And this year, I think we do. I think that's probably the biggest difference. Now we know our teams look like we know. We have a better sense of how they're going to play. And so this is a lot more. I don't want to say certainty because there's never certainty in a baseball season. But last year, I don't think we had a real feel for what the next 6 months is going to bring. And I think we have a better feel for that now. Yeah, he had a great August last year, and his batting practice, so it's just hard to say. But he looks strong right now. It looks like he's sort of growing in his body. And I think he turns 20 early April, mid-April. I think sometimes we forget. We've been spoiled a little bit by the way Addison came out last year.
I mean, that's the message.
I think we have to remember that's not a normal development path.
What you need to do is talk about
when you have a guy like Alvarez who's 21 years old,
expectations, and
we're a non-four guys that age. Big expectations. Say, wow, Fielder had a great
daily basis,
incredible August. But instead, we're counting guys like Harrison Scott.
If you do that, then expectations.
We're excited about him. He really plays defense. He's a great kid.
I
think he's good. He's actually on the exact right trajectory.
Should be thinking about, okay,
he'll be 22. Like the big part of his age play. We're excited to see if he can build on this. I think it's going to build up for young guys that come up now. Whether you're the guys that are into
that's right.
Those guys aren't going to be expected to come up and be center be able to come in. It's like any young players on the quality team.
That's how you do it.
Their entire focus would be helping the team win, being a complementary piece, and then go into that. Give a lot of credit to guys like Chris or Anthony or Kyle. These guys had to come off fire expected right away. They should be really significant
in the offseason, everything that's been written about us.
Guys can bring in and way more stable one way that our guys have to have.
Well, I texted him almost hard every game this year. The last loss was a tough one after that. What I take away from him, I watch him on the sidelines, and he validates a lot of things I believe in. I can see his approach to the game. Talk about a guy that's not worried about making a mistake, and I love that. I love that about him. I think his entire team respects him in the way he goes about his business. They have a method of play, again, that is fearless, and I believe that's talking about the process. The process is furious, and that's what I see with him in that particular group. I've gotten to be friends with Coach Moore and Coach Pratt, also I love, and I got to meet a bunch of the players last year when the Bears early in the season. So I'm really impressed with what they do and how they do it. And he's a lifer like me. I mean, he didn't just show up when he was like 37 and got his first job in the NFL. He worked his way through a lot of different outposts.
You showed that fearlessness because you don't run shots. Say to me something
You have a big second
that you get the job.
No, I mean, if you're worried about impressing people, then just do something else. I mean, I use the word outpost. I made a lot of mistakes where people never even saw them, and I did that for so many years so that by the time you get to the major leagues and you're doing this particular job, if you have an idea what you believe works or doesn't work, then you work from there. But to be afraid of making mistakes or being concerned of answering, that would just tell me that you're really not certain of what you want to do in the first place. So when something may not work out, it doesn't mean my decision was wrong. Just because it didn't work out, and I'm fully prepared to tell you why I did it.
You brought in a lot of props last year. You brought in special guests. What are your thoughts about surprising younger generation players? And how do you reach a younger generation?
Well, I honestly, I think it's about remaining contemporary. I think the moment you choose to hide behind the label of like old school, at some point you're going to deem or render yourself unemployable. Just because you choose to not even attempt to understand what's going on now. And I'm not going to tell like all the new music. I don't listen to it. I don't like all the new TV shows. I'm not a video guy. But I could have a conversation with all my guys about almost anything that's happening in the world today, whether it's politics, cars, whatever. Like I said, I love music, but I'm not but there's some really good artists out there. I can't say there's not. So I mean, I've often thought, i.e. Jimmy Reese. Jimmy Reese was the Babe Ruth's roommate, was a coach with the Angels for 100 years. Mr. Fungo, Jimmy and I were good buddies. Jimmy died when he was 94, I think something like 93, 94. And in the 90s, he was a member of his coaching staff. But I thought, why did Jimmy survive? Jimmy remained contemporary, man. He appealed to every guy, Langston, Jimmy Abbott, Finley. They hung all over this guy on a daily basis. They wanted to be around him, around his conversation, around his sense of humor, because he understood where they were at. Sometimes you get to a certain point in your life where coaching, you forgot what it was like to go 22, 23, 25, 30, whatever. I'm not forgotten because basically I'm still living those particular years.
My last thing, you made headlines once for staying on a RV out here.
Yeah, right now.
Still right now?
Yeah.
Why is it important for you to have a different kind of experiences? Like,
why is it important? Well, there's a couple words in my life that I think are really important. Flexibility is one of them. I think when you become inflexible, then you lose this opportunity to grow. And I read a quote recently from Jack Welch, former head dude at GE, change before you have to. And I love that. So, I mean, just to sit in a box and say, well, I'm really comfortable, that is the most unattractive thing I could possibly do, is to be comfortable in a box somewhere. Although I'm comfortable in like a rectangular box in this RV right now. But I don't understand where people choose to not try to do new things only because they're comfortable. I think the moment you feel as though you're comfortable, it's really time to try something new.
thank you, John.
That's your plan for he's going to play some on field, he's going to play some catching. That's primarily it. I think he's going to be successful playing both positions.
It's going to be tough for him because he hasn't had to catching reps in minors to really kind of learn and be
Of course, it's not easy to do that. He needs reps. You're absolutely right. It's up to us in spring training to get him as much of those as we can. In season, while he's playing the outfield, get him as much work as we can without getting him tired for games. Because after all, the bat, nobody talks to him about shortstop because I'm not saying he's a bad fielder, he's a good fielder, but it's all about his bat. So you got to keep this guy frisky with the bat while you're teaching him how to be an outfielder and catcher.
So are there any concerns about his average? His average against righties is really nice. Just too small to sample size.
I think it's too small. Absolutely, I think it's too small. We'll see how it all plays out this year. I think he'll make some good adjustments moving forward. But we need to see more of that.
Are you convinced that Javier Baez will be able to play center field on an occasional basis? And what are your plans for him in general this year?
Play him everywhere, man. We've talked about that in our meeting. I've done that in the past with different players. I think as we're able to utilize him in different positions, that should benefit his offense too, because he's going to be more bogged down on a daily basis, working all these different gloves, working out these different positions. I'm hoping that it'll simplify his hitting even more because of that.
You've done this with Ben Zobrist before.
Zobrist did it with Zobrist in the past, did it with BJ Upton actually. When I was first there, BJ came up under that premise, ended up playing a lot of second base, was on the verge of making the All-Star team. I think it was 2007, he hurt his ankle in Miami one night. I've had Sean Figgins in the past, same thing. I wasn't there for Tony Phelps when he did all that stuff. In the early part, I was there for the latter part of his career. And Mark McLemore's another guy. So I've been around a lot of guys that have done it. Even like with the Rays, I was advocating that that particular position becomes an all-star position. A really legitimate super utility guy. If in fact you're trying to win that game, you want to have a guy that's versatile in a lot of different spots.
Have you told the guys yet who's going to start over again?
No, I haven't. Here's what happens with me. I don't worry about stuff like that. I don't even think about it. I know it's pertinent to everybody may not get it, but I don't think about that. I gotta have somebody come up to me like tomorrow morning and say, "Hey, have you talked to Arrieta and Lester and Lackey?" And I'm, can you go do that right now? So just being honest, I don't think about that stuff.
Fernando Rodney's had some of his best career success under you. He's out in San Diego now. What does he have to do to get back on the track that you seen him do?
Well, he did pretty well for us last year. The biggest thing with Fernando, obviously, is knowing where his fastball is going. Velocity, because the changeup plays so well off that. His velocity numbers, like 90, 94, 95, 96, and he throws that buck 20 changeup off of it. That's when he's very successful. So primarily, if he gets off to a good start, knows where his fastball is going, heads up, because when he knows that changeup is unhittable.
What do you like about him as a clubhouse guy?
Oh, he's funny. He's a fun guy. The players love him. He's just a fun-loving guy. He takes this properly and well. He's not too serious. He's serious enough. But I like him in the clubhouse. He made me laugh. Right? He makes me giggle, and I just love the way he is. His hat, just so people understand that having San Diego, he wears his hat off to the side to dedicate it to his dad. And that's an indication that his dad made sure that he knew to have fun in life. So for that stoic group out there that really is offended by a baseball player wearing his hat less than your standards, understand why he does it. And put yourself in his shoes and understand. Maybe if your father had passed away and asked you to do that, you might have done something similar to that as a tribute to your dad.
Thank you.
What do you know about the meeting in last year? What have you learned?
Well, I know when I interviewed for the Red Sox. Did I interview here? Yeah, whenever Terry got it, yeah. That's what I got to know. And honestly, him and Jed were there, and Josh Burns, conversation, and it was a really well done, in-depth interview. Then we went out to dinner at Roy's over in Scottsdale afterwards. Moved the needle forward to back in an RV in Pensacola, Florida, over a couple of Miller Lights. Exactly the same guy. Exactly the same guy. From a distance, you always knew how good he was at his craft, but conversationally back in the day, whenever that was here, I was so impressed with the way he is, his ability to communicate, brightness. I was into the numerical sabermetrical component of it. So thought that validated Pensacola. Then now what I'm finding out is how much of an old school dude this guy is. Yeah, he really balances the combination of the old school tenets with the new school stuff as well as I've seen. And Jet, don't forget this guy right here. I mean, working with those two guys for me is a joy, really, because he's the same way. Bright, beyond bright. So I got two guys to work with every day that understand the new complexities of the newer part of the game, as well as appreciate and understand what came before them. So I feel like I'm the same way. So it's really an easy conversation, because if I need to go historical on them, I can't listen to them. Some guys, sometimes the newer generation will don't even want to hear any of that, don't want to weigh any of that into the decision. But these guys are willing to do that. I really appreciate that.
One quick question about music.
Yes, sir.
I understand you're a big fan of Bruce Springsteen.
I am.
Your favorite Springsteen song? You had a big one.
Kitty's back in town.
And will we see you at the show here in Phoenix
I'm
next
sorry
month?
to say I didn't even realize that, but I'm going to do my darndest to be there. Absolutely, yes.
That's good.
Yes, it's at the Old America West.
In downtown Phoenix, yeah.
I've seen him there before, and the acoustics were horrible years ago. I was near a concrete wall, and the sound just kept bouncing off the wall. So if I can, I'd like to get a better vantage point if I can understand. Yeah, listen, I believe me, yes, I'm a big fan.
Thanks, sir.
I don't know, not like I'm not a freak about it. It started at Lafayette when he used to play for $4 at Alumni Gym at Lafayette College back in '72, 3, 4, whatever that was. I've seen him in Phoenix, seen him in California, seen him in Pennsylvania. I know there's other places. I'd say it maybe 5 times. So I'm not a freak. I listen to the music all the time. I mean, if I really need to be jacked up, that's what I'm going to. It's my go-to. But it's been that way. 1973, my first year at Lafayette, 72, 73, all the dudes are from the Jersey Shore, the ladies, so they turned me on to this stuff, and I went back home, and one of my best buddies, Willie Ford, and he's a member of the B Street Band right now. They're a Springsteen cover band, and I walked into his house one day, and I gave him the cassette, reminded me even an 8-track. I said, learn to play this guy, because this guy's really good someday. So now he makes his living. Willie makes his living playing Springsteen cover all over the East Coast.
Great to see you.
Good,
Good, thanks. And my friend who you gave that Buddy's Cruise shirt
Yes.
brought her to tears. It meant a lot. So that was a couple years back.
Yes.
Okay.
Good to see you.
Great to see you.
Thank you.
See you soon.
All right.
I got a question about rosters in April. Would you be opposed or for adding like 2 or 3 members of your roster for the first month of the season versus having all that 40-man at the end of the season? Do you think like that would help you evaluate your talent a little bit more and how they would handle it?
I mean, early in the season there's a lot of off days involved, and you're actually looking to get guys into lineups a lot of times early on. So I'm not as I haven't thought about it enough, but that's my first reaction to it.
Okay.
The latter part of the season, when you expand, also there's something to be said for it. Go ahead and expand, but also just permit so many guys to be eligible on a nightly basis.
Okay.
That's something to be considered, I think. To me, the expansion, if you're ever able to get to the point of scheduling double hitters during the year to possibly shorten, that's when I would expand, because you would know in advance when a double hitter is going to be played, so you know in advance you need 2 or 3 extra players to cover a doubleheader, something to that effect. But I think early in the season, the way the schedule plays, a lot of rainouts, snowouts, whatever, it might be difficult actually to give guys the playing time you're looking for.
I'm just looking at it from a standpoint of those pitchers breaking down towards the end of the season. If they had a 6-man rotation for the first month, would that allow them to be stronger towards the end?
That'd be interesting too. But you would have to almost look at your first month. I think a lot of times, even if you utilize off days, you might almost be able to
do the same thing,
to manipulate it in that way. If not, what would be so wrong with being like one of your better minor league pitchers and just popping them in there?
Right.
Or if you have like a bullpen guy that kind of is versatile, can go both ways. Stretch him out in spring training, utilize him early before popping back in the pen. There's different ways to do that.
Okay.
But I wouldn't necessarily just expand rosters with position players that early.
Thank you, Coach.
I have an idea what you're looking for in spring training to determine the numbers for 1 and 2 or how it's going to go.
I talked about it, I don't know if I said it today or yesterday. No, what I want to do is talk about the sabermetric component. I want our geeks to tell me what their opinion is of 1 and 2 and why. Because also tied into that is Addison hitting 9th or no. So I like to get information and then look at all the information and then try to figure out what I think is the best thing to do. I did it last year when whoever became more prominent in the group, and he was there to stay, asked them to do the same thing. A lot of the indicators pointed to maybe second, which they ended up doing, and they did really well there. So I'm all for that. I'm all about that. Anytime you get a little bit of help, where you take it. So this camp, you'll see them hit one and two, both of them. By the end of the camp, we'll figure out what we want to do.
So for the record, I have one of Springsteen. That's
Yeah.
March 10th.
How many times have you seen it?
Over 100.